Look at his hands.
Whatever helps you with your self-esteem. All right. This one's from DC_95714. It's a great number. Way to pick them. What do you mean by punch the block foot? It's a great question. We've gotten it a few times. Punch the block foot. So we are well known for our kind of arsenal of cues for coaches, right? How to get the most out of an athlete when it comes to jumping and jump technique. And punch has become one that has been very synonymous with results very quickly, because it's a very aggressive, deliberate cue. You hear punch, you think punch, right? Punch isn't soft, punch is aggressive. And when we're talking about the block foot, which for those that need a bit of a reminder, in the jump, it's the very last contact of the ground. This block foot, the easiest way to think about this is block equals brakes, right? We have all the speed we're bringing in, we're planting, blocking. The block is the redirection of all this horizontal momentum, right? Essentially acts like a pole vault pole. We know that in pole vault, that pole gets stuck and then the athlete gets redirected, almost like a fulcrum around that contact point. So this is what the block's doing. And when we jump, because things are moving relatively fast, if this block foot is not applied aggressively and quickly, there's a balance, and I'll talk a little bit about that, then what happens is we kind of blow through these contacts, which means we underutilize them, and then we end up taking off on a very kind of shallow, low angle. And when it comes to vertical jumping, vertical being the key term there, we want to make sure that we're maximizing that. So the term punch the block foot is the kind of contact behavior behind this foot, and we're trying to get it to the point of contact quickly. Now, we're not looking for it to be a stomping motion, and I think this is the meat and potatoes of what people are asking. They're like, well, how do I punch it, right? Is it an up and down movement? Is it like a jabbing movement? It's kind of a blend. What we're looking to do essentially is bring that block foot through low to the ground, right? Because we don't want to disturb our hip height, meaning we don't want to change that relationship, because that plays around with introducing deceleration. So we want to make sure we're keeping everything moving in the right direction. So it's a lower movement, and it's aggressive, slightly in front of the hip, slightly in front of the body. Okay, so if I'm facing the camera, I don't want to be blocking directly beside my plant foot. This kind of parallel stance doesn't allow for a lot of braking force, right? We need to create surface area that's working in the opposite direction of the speed we're creating. So that's where this block foot getting punched through is going to help create that, number one, that deliberate movement, and also that strong braking force that we require in order to kind of move about that contact point. Does that make sense? Right, we're looking to create a braking force. That braking force will vary depending on a lot of factors, right? How much speed you're bringing in, how strong of an athlete you are, and how do you facilitate your power? Are you someone that is more contractile in nature? Do you require kind of a lower preparation phase so that you can push longer through that power leg? Or are you very neural and very elastic, where you're a little bit taller overall and your contacts are quick and tall? Regardless of where that's at, that block is still being applied in the same nature. It's still low, it's still aggressive, and the contact is primarily through the ball of the foot, through that big toe, maybe into the right beside the big toe, that pad of the foot. You're going to apply it aggressively, and that momentum will take care of the additional surface area that contacts the ground. You're not going to be able to just pop off the big toe, but if we're leading with that, we're leading with the foot in a little bit of pronation, right? Where we turn the toe down, and then as that momentum carries, we then load up all the structures of the foot, the big toe, the arch. We get a lot of this really nice kind of spiraling, winding action that happens through the joints, through that fascial system, all the way up the body, and we lift off really nice and efficiently. So how do we practice punching the block foot? Well, we got to get into that position. So we use something here called impulse blocks, where we set ourselves right before that block comes through. So from the front, you'll see that my plant foot is down. My center of mass is still back on this plant. My arms at this point would be coming through slightly. So I'm gonna bring my arms through with my block, and then I'm gonna pop off the ground, but my hips stay low until they make contact with my block. And I'm working on, you hear that? It's that quick punch, right? I'm not here, right? That's a stomp. That stomp involves up and down movement. We want everything to stay consistent through that hip height and be a redirection force for our approach speed. Okay, so we use those impulse blocks to train that aggressive punch. Is that clear? Right? Are we starting to understand the difference between punching and stomping? Right? Punch is just the aggressive term. It's just the behavior, the cue. We don't want to stomp. We're not punching straight down. We're punching into the floor so that the forces act back into our hip, right? Back into the strong, large structures of our hip. I think that's it. I'm out of breath. I'm sweating. Super warm in here today, but I'm here for it, and I'm here for you. So if you'd like to ask a question, if you want to be featured on PPA, go to our Instagram. Ready for this? It's right here. It's just right here. I've animated it on there somehow. Go to our Instagram. You can DM the questions. Pay attention to the stories. I post things, and we'll catch you there. My pleasure as always. This is Coach Ty with Project Pure Athlete. We out. Hey, COVID high five. You ready for this? Wow!